It's been a while. I do still have my Christmas tree up. I'm taking it down this week. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I don't even light it up anymore. It's just I've already unplugged everything and used the adapter for something else. So I don't. Yeah, sorry. I got a new haircut and I'm just getting used to the fringe. I've had it before years ago and loved it, but it takes a little bit more styling work than I'm generally willing to do, so I didn't have it for a long time. But anyway, I'm happy to be back. So I want to just talk to you guys a little bit and tell you a little bit about what's been going on and what I've been doing. The first break that I took, I want to say it was like 3 or 4 months. I was genuinely taking a break. I felt a little bit unmotivated with YouTube. I was a little bit burned out with YouTube, and I just wanted to take a break from it. And then I was ready to come back, and some things happened that, and I think I'll do a separate storytime video on that particular thing, but something happened or something's been going on in my life that has been giving me a lot of fear. It's not even anxiety, it's just like pure fear. But I will do a separate video on that. I think I'm going to just try to pre-record a little bit today and put out that storytime video later in the week. But yeah, so Happy New Year. It's January 18th today. So I'm very late, but Happy New Year. Hope you all had a great Christmas if you celebrate, and a great New Year. I went to Spain, spent it with my parents and my brother who came over, and that was really, really nice. My brother joined us for a week just for Christmas. He arrived a few days before Christmas and left a few days after. And then I stayed for a month, and the weather was incredible. I got quite the tan. I'm actually not wearing foundation because I don't think I have a shade that matches me at the moment. I'm pretty tan right now. It was really nice, just lovely weather. Went out for dinner a lot outside, and it was just nice and like what I needed, I think, to recharge my batteries. So yeah, just to give you some updates on what's been going on with me. So health-wise, I feel like I'm still not better, really. Well, I'm better, but I feel like my stomach is a lot better. I feel like whatever issues I'm having right now are not necessarily coming from my stomach. They might be, but I don't feel like they are. So I started seeing a chiropractor. Long overdue. Been meaning to do that for a long time. And she's awesome. I saw an osteopath in Belgium like 2 years ago who was also great. But osteopaths are a little bit gentler, although she really wasn't. I think she was also a chiropractor. She also cracked every now and then, even though I didn't want her to. But osteopaths typically don't. But I was always afraid to go to a chiropractor because in Belgium you need to be licensed for it. In Ireland you don't. You can obviously ask to see someone's license, but you can't practice it here without a license. And because they crack your back and your neck, I was always really afraid that they would hurt me or like damage something. And for years I got recommended a chiropractor from people at work who had an office near work, and I was just always too afraid to go. But my osteopath in Belgium said you really need to find someone in Ireland because you have so much to do. It's not going to be enough for you to come here once a year for a couple of weeks and leave it at that. So I was talking to my neighbor across the street who had been seeing a chiropractor, and as it turns out, it's the same one that I got recommended years ago from people at work. But she was doing half days in her office near work and half days from her home, which is a 5-minute drive from where I live now, if even. So I was like, okay, I'll go see her. I'll see. She's Australian. She has a license and she is incredible. She can explain things that are happening in my body to me in a way that I understand them and in a way that they make sense to me. And she's very gentle. She uses a tool to crack more so than her hands. Every now and then she'll like crack my back or try to crack my neck with her hands. But my neck most of the time won't give. Like she like twists it and tries to get it to crack and it just won't. And she's like, okay, your neck is not ready to give me what I want. So she uses this clicker kind of where she clicks on your muscles to try and it's the same principle as cracking them. And it's a lot gentler. And it's helped me a lot. But what it's done is I told her about my digestive issues and my stomach problems, and she said, well, I don't think it's your actual stomach. She said, what I think you have, and I've been wondering this for a long time, is a hiatal hernia. Now, I really need to get a scope done there. I need to get a endoscopy or what they call here a gastroscopy done. But I had one scheduled for May, I think. And I had to cancel it because of COVID, because they were like, you have to come in. You can't drive yourself. I don't. The hospital's on the other side of town. I find it awkward. I know I have friends who will do it, but I find it awkward to have to say to people, hey, can you drive me? And then come pick me up again hours later. But I could have swung that. I was like, I'll just take a taxi. But the main thing is, I wasn't allowed to stay home alone at night. I had to have someone stay with me. And I was talking to my nurse friend about this, and I said, is that really a thing? Like, is that just precaution? And she said, well, obviously it's precaution. They want to make sure that in that 1 in a million chance something happens, that they're not liable. But she said, as a nurse, I wouldn't recommend you to not do it. And I couldn't swing that. We were still in lockdown. We didn't leave lockdown until June. So I wasn't allowed to have people over. I'm sure nobody would have cared, but it's hard because most of my friends are married with kids. It's hard for me to say to someone, can you just come over and spend a night with me? Because I'm not supposed to be alone. And I ended up calling them and said, can I just cancel for now and I'll reschedule when things get easier? And then I never did. So I'm thinking of getting it done this year in June when my parents come over. They should be able to come visit me this year. And I might have it done then because they'll be here at night. Not just to have a look, because if it is a hiatal hernia, you can only diagnose that through a gastroscopy. But essentially, like a hiatal hernia is that your stomach pokes through a hole in your diaphragm and is partly in your chest. It would describe all the symptoms I have, but the main thing that she said, which I never noticed, is that my diaphragm is in a constant state of spasm. And I noticed that a lot in my breathing. Well, a lot of my anxiety the last year has been about my breathing. And I do think that a lot of the time it's me just doing it wrong because I get anxious. But I also think a lot of the time it's my diaphragm and I get anxious because of it. When it's really, really tense, it's difficult for me to breathe properly. And so she's been working very hard on trying started seeing her in, I think it was May. I think I started seeing her after I canceled my gastroscopy appointment. And I went, like, she was brutally honest with me. She looked me over and went, "There is nothing in alignment about you." She was like, "You are so off." And I went to see her every week for about 2 months. She said, "I'm supposed to space you out because it's not good for your body to get this much work done either, but I can't space you out yet because you are so bad." And then eventually she did. She got me to come back every 2 weeks, but then I went to Belgium for 6 weeks. Now, when I came back, she was like, you're not starting all over. Your body retained some of the work really well, but you obviously went backwards. And then I went to her again every 2 weeks until December. Like, I came back in September, left again in December for a month. And she was like, "This time I regressed pretty badly." Now, she never judges me. She's like, "I think it's great that you can travel so much and that you can go away. And it's a good thing to give your body a rest as well. But because I'm such a stressy person, I hold all my stress in my body and all my muscles tense up." And she essentially was like, "Yeah, we're just going to have to do a lot of work again." And I said to her, "Well, I'm going away for 2 months again in February," which I will talk about in my story time video because it's related. "Will I just come in every week?" And she was like, "No." She said, "Come back next week, but then I'm going to have to space you out again because I can't do that much work. You're going to suffer." But since then, I've been a little hyper-focused, I think, on my diaphragm, where it just feels tense all the time. I've been doing a lot of exercise and a lot of stretches, and I do feel mentally a lot better, and I feel physically better, but I think I have a really long way ahead of me when it comes to everything. Yeah, years and years of neglect, of slouching, of sitting on the couch, of working from my bed, of not exercising, not moving. I was literally a couch potato all the time. Has finally taken its toll, and it's gonna take a lot of work to get it back okay. So, but I'm working on that, so that's one thing. Then I started taking CBD oil, which I'd heard so much about, but never took because it's cannabis oil, and I was like, I don't know if it's even legal in Ireland, but it is. They sell it in the health food store, several ones actually, so you can just get it. Started taking oil capsules, and in the beginning I felt like they really worked. I was still really anxious at that time and felt like they kind of just made me feel on the edge all day, but not over the edge. And I thought they would also help with like my digestive issues and all that. But again, my chiropractor seems to think my digestive issues are more physical, related to my diaphragm and stress, not so much my actual stomach. And they really didn't help with that. Now, I kind of have been slacking off on them. I feel like when I take it now, it doesn't really calm me anymore. I've also tried the drops on the tongue, which I don't feel really too much, but I'm also not consistent with them anymore, and I kind of want to keep taking them. They're just not cheap. I mean, we're gonna hell, CBD oil is not cheap. I think it costs €70 for one bottle of 30 capsules. I got them in Holland and Barrett, and Holland and Barrett do a sale here regularly in Ireland for buy one, get one for $1. So I bought 2 bottles. I think it's 40 capsules. I don't think it's 30. Because I remember thinking I now have a supply for like 4 months. It's 60 capsules. Yes, sorry, that's what it is. It's 60 capsules. So I got 120 for €80, but normally it's 80 for one bottle, which is very, very pricey. But I do feel like if I am consistent with it, I do feel like it really helps me. So it's legal in Belgium though, because when I went to Belgium, I was running out and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna order them here from Holland and Barrett. And they didn't sell them. They sold CBD oil, lotions like foot cream and body lotion and stuff, but they didn't sell anything to consume. And I googled it to see if it was legal in Belgium and didn't find anything about yes or no, so I don't know, but couldn't find it anywhere online in Belgium. It's just not sold there, so I'm not recommending buying it, by the way. I'm just saying that it's what I'm doing, and I do think it's working, but I don't know if it's legal where you are. I don't know why it wouldn't be. It's legal in Ireland, and Ireland is very anti-drugs. There's nothing like in it. The addictive component has been taken out of it, but what's not addictive? The component that makes you high, I guess, is taken out of it, but I don't think it is legal everywhere, so I'm not like endorsing it. I'm just saying it's what I have been using and seems to be helping. And the main thing I noticed is that it reduces my headaches significantly, which is a really great side effect, honestly. Then what else? I bought a standing desk. I don't know if I've talked about that before. I don't think I've recorded a video since I got it. I bought it from IKEA, put it together myself. Can I just say, I was really proud of that. It's a very heavy and big desk. I dropped it on my foot at some point and got a huge bruise, but I put it together myself and I was really proud of that. But it moves up and down. It's an electronic desk, so I can move it down when I want to sit and I can move it up when I want to stand. And honestly, I stand most of the time. I don't even move it down when I want to sit. I have so many calls that when I'm on a call that I don't have to be on camera for, I will sit down and just listen or talk while I'm sitting down with the desk up. But then when I have to actually work or be on camera for a call, I will do it standing up. And it makes me feel so much better. That, I think, has been key in aiding my digestion. I think my digestion comes from poor posture, and I've read an article on this, that because you slouch all the time, you're essentially folding your stomach in half, making it very small, making it too small to digest. And since I work standing up, I feel a lot better. Not just digestive, just in my energy as well. It makes me feel a lot better. I think what I need to do now to get back to where I used to be is get dressed every day. I'm kind of cheating today. I am wearing a sweater, but I'm also wearing pajama bottoms, so, I'm half dressed. I did do my hair, and I feel a lot better about myself already, so I think that's what I need to do, even if I'm not going out. Just looking good for myself, I think, is important for my mental health, so that's something that I'm really trying to work on this year. What else? My job is changing again. If you remember, I was promoted to manager of my team in February last year, and my team will now no longer exist. I don't want to go into too much detail, but I don't hate it, honestly. I think it's a good change for me. I like the job that they want me to do. I think all my team members are happy with the new job they're getting. A little bit apprehensive, but happy enough about it. And I will still be managing a team, just a different one, a smaller one, but a different type of role. It's more hands-on, so it kind of has to be a smaller team. So I'm happy enough with the change, but it's been so busy. Like, I've had like 5 calls a week about this since November, and it's really stressed me out. So I'm happy that everyone's been informed, that everything has been scheduled. but I think it's a good change for me, so I'm happy with it. It's just been a lot. I'm hoping it'll be a slightly calmer job. I don't know, but I don't want another year like I did last year. I was really, really busy last year, leaving very little, I won't say time, I had enough time, but leaving very little energy for me to spend on my YouTube channel. And my Patreon, oh my god, my Patreon. If you're on my Patreon, I am so sorry. I still owe you like 4 videos for November and December. I was gonna pause the billing for December and January and forgot. I did it for January, I forgot for December. And I have not uploaded any videos, so it's just not fair. And that's my priority this week, to get videos out for Patreon. I'm going to pause the billing again for February so that you don't get charged another month. I first want to catch up on all the videos before I do that again. I don't like that system about Patreon. Like, I don't like that you can't just pause it and then unpause it when you're ready to start again. You have to manually pause it every month. And I am such a scatterbrain, I forget. I have to remember today to do it for February. Yeah, I'm really annoyed by that. I'm annoyed with myself that I forgot to do that, so I will be working on that. Another change that I've made is I started ordering a meal box like HelloFresh, but HelloFresh doesn't exist in Ireland, which I'm also miffed about, by the way. It exists almost everywhere in Europe and not in Ireland. And I emailed the UK team and was like 2 years ago, and I said, do you have any plans to expand into Ireland, because you're already delivering to Northern Ireland, just not to the south? And they responded with, yeah, we are definitely planning to, we're hoping to expand into Ireland soon. And it's 2 years later and they're still not doing it. So there's only one meal box, as far as I can tell, in Ireland that delivers countrywide, and that is called Drop Chef. And I love them. I think I might make a video on when I get a box and show you how it works. Not sponsored, by the way. I pay for it myself, but I love them so far. And you can pause it indefinitely. Take a note, Patreon. When I went to Spain for, I think it was like 4.5 weeks, I paused it, and it stays paused until you unpause it. So I paused it for 5 weeks, and then unpaused it last week. So I got it again yesterday. And it's really great. You get to pick. They are one of the only ones I know that do it for one person. You can order for 2 people, for a family, and also for 1 person. And I do 4 meals a week. I get to pick them out of, I think, 15. I get to pick 4 that I want for the week. And then they deliver it in a box, and they've got little color-coded stickers on each bag to say what ingredient goes with what meal. And I love it. It's pretty healthy. It contains a lot of vegetables. It is so much food for 1 person. Actually, last night I made fajitas, and I have one left over for today because it was too much. And I love it. It's €35 a week, which I think for 4 meals is not that bad. I don't know if I can shop for that for less money. And it allows me, like, for a long time, I went to microwave meals because I didn't have the time to cook in the evening. I worked until like 9 p.m. every night, and I was like, I have to find a half-hour space to eat, so I'll just pop something in the microwave. And I went on a really, really unhealthy streak, and I was like, that needs to change. These take half an hour to make. You can take an hour out of your evening to cook and then sit down and eat, but I never know what to make. That's the problem. I make like the same dishes every week because I have no inspiration on what to make or what ingredients I would need to cook something decent. And this takes that out of love it. They give you all the ingredients. They give them perfectly measured as well. And instructions on how to make the meal. And it's been really good for me. I like the fact that I've gone back to cooking. I like the fact that it's healthy, that it's all fresh. The products, like the quality of their products is amazing. I find it better than what I buy in the grocery store. So, yeah, I am really happy that I did that. I think it's part of working on my mental health, which has been a lot better if it wasn't for that one thing that's going on, which again I'll do a separate video about. But for overall, like, that is one specific thing that I think I have a right to feel anxious about. But my general anxiety is a lot better. And yeah, I think part of that is the chiropractor. I think she's doing a lot of, she says that, just to get back into that topic, sorry, it is a ramble after all. I didn't write anything down. I'm just talking what I think about. I bought this needle mat from Bed of Nails. Acupressure mat, that's what it's called. And I was talking to her about that, and I said, I've been using it for a couple of months now. Love it. I said, but when I watched people use this on YouTube, they were like screaming in agony. And especially the first few times they used it, they couldn't stay on it very long. It was really sore. I said, and I barely feel it. Like I lie on, like I take my top off and just lie on it with a bare back. I lie flat on the ground. And it pinches a little bit, but it doesn't hurt. And she said, well, do you find that you have a very high threshold of pain? And I said, yeah, I do. Like, whenever I go to the doctor and they want to do something, they always say this may hurt, and I never feel it. And she said, well, I don't think you have a high threshold of pain. She said you could, but I think your body is so messed up right now that it's sending the wrong signals to your brain, making your brain not recognize pain because it's too overloaded with everything else that your body is telling it. She said, and I also think that it's telling your brain to be anxious when it's not, like, because your muscles are so incredibly tight. Your brain constantly thinks you're in fight or flight mode when you're not. She said, so I think your anxiety is caused physically by your body. And with all the work she's done, I have felt a lot calmer. I just need to get my breathing under control with my diaphragm, which she's working heavily on. So it makes sense to me that, because I didn't know where it was coming from years ago, I knew where it was coming from. Now I felt anxious a lot of the time without feeling anxious. I was like, what is this? Like, I don't know. I don't feel like anything triggered it. Like, I don't feel like I'm anxious, and yet I feel anxious. And so she thinks it's more physical, probably a little bit mental, but more so physical. And I think she's right, because I do feel better since she started doing work on me. I got sidetracked there. What was I talking about before? Oh no, I think it was just that my anxiety had gotten a lot better. So yeah. And then, yeah, I think that's kind of it. I got double vaccinated. No shade if you didn't. I mean, it's everyone's choice. But no shade for me either, because I did it. I know not everyone that watches me is pro-vaccines. Your choice. I do plan to get my booster soon. I'll need it for my trip. Well, I don't think I need it, but I just want to get it to be safe. Didn't have any side effects from either, which kind of surprised me. Well, neither did my parents or my brother, but a lot of people I knew felt awful after either their first or second shot, I had nothing except for a really sore arm. Like on my first shot, she said, I went to this vaccination clinic they built at the race course, which is incidentally close to my office, but you know, I don't work from the office. But I hadn't been out there in a while, and they put up like huge tents at the race course, and yeah, vaccination center there. And I went in to a nurse, and she said, "Are you right-handed or left-handed?" And I said, "Right-handed." And she said, "Okay, I'll put it in your left arm." And I was like, "Great." And then my arm got really sore, and I realized in the evening that I sleep on my left side, not on my right side. And I was awake all night. I could not get comfortable. I couldn't stay on my right side. I just don't sleep on it. I felt too uncomfortable, and I couldn't sleep on my left arm because it was way too sore. So the soreness went away the next day. I had it a little bit in the evening, but once I was lying still on it, I didn't feel it anymore. So then when I went back for my second shot, I got a different nurse, and she asked me the same question, and I was like, "I'm right-handed, but put it in my right arm anyway because I sleep on my left one." And she was like, "Oh, okay, no problem." And then I was fine, slept great that night. My arm was sore for longer. My right arm was sore for like 5 days. But honestly, other than that, I didn't have any issues. And I was really concerned about the second one because it was in the middle of a heat wave we were having, and it was so hot. My bedroom at some point was 30 degrees. I had to sleep in the front bedroom, in like the spare bedroom, because the front of the house is east facing and it doesn't get sun for most of the days, or my bedroom's at the west and it full blasted with sun. So I had to sleep in another room for a couple of nights, put all the windows and doors open against each other. The worst part was driving to the vaccination center because my car, it doesn't have air conditioning. My car is 14 years old this year, but just in general, I think air conditioning didn't become standard in cars in Ireland until like 5 years ago. Like we just didn't have it in our cars before because we would only need it like 2 weeks a year, but boy did I need it. I have a Mini Cooper. Like it's so small that it instantly becomes an oven, and no air conditioning, so that was the worst. It's like a half-hour drive in a boiling car. And I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna get so sick tonight with the shot and this heat. But again, surprisingly, did not. So, yeah, can't wait to get my booster. Honestly, I'm eligible for it already. I've gotten a few texts to make an appointment, but I can't make an appointment more than 5 days in advance, and I want to give myself 2 weeks after coming back from Spain to make sure that I didn't catch COVID on in Spain or on the flight home or anything. So I'm gonna try to schedule it for the last week of January. And another thing that I forgot to talk about, which was actually kind of a big thing, I went to Paris for a week in November. I was always ashamed to tell people that I'd never been to Paris because it is like a 2-hour train ride from Belgium, and I've been to France many times as a kid, but I never made it to Paris. So I went to Paris for 4 days, and then I went to Disneyland Paris for 4 days. I incidentally went to Disneyland Paris in September as well. The last week that I was in Belgium, I went for one night. I took the train, which was 2 hours, the TGV, and was awesome. It literally arrives across the entrance to Disney. I didn't know that it was that close. It's like its own train station, and I knew that it was right next to Disney. I didn't know that you exit it and you see the archway that says "Welcome to Disneyland Paris." Like you literally walk into the park from the train station. So it was awesome, and I hadn't been to Disneyland Paris since I was 12. So, for those of you who are counting, that's 27 years ago. And yeah, I didn't know if I would like it because I went to Disneyland in California in 2017. And I didn't love it. I liked it fine, but I was comparing it too much to Orlando, which is way bigger, and just, I think it's nicer. I don't think everyone does, but I do. And I was like, oh, it's not the same. And I knew that Paris was going to be even smaller, but I loved it. I enjoyed it so much that I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Paris in November, and I'm going to come back to Disney for 3 nights and just 3 or 4. Tuesday to Saturday. Ooh, 4 nights. And take my time for it because 2 days, well, 2 half days really, if you take the train, was not enough. And oh my god, I loved it. It was so cold. There was a lot of fog. 2 days where you could barely see. But it stayed dry. One of the rides I was on broke down, which was an experience. I was on the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, and about halfway on through the course, we were being pulled up in a tunnel when it just stopped. Well, we were about to get pulled up. We stopped at the start of the track, and we stopped very brusquely. Like, I immediately thought that's not right because I'd done that ride the day before, and it was a lot smoother. And I was like, oh geez, that was hard. You could hear the whole train cart just going, whoa. And I was sitting in the very front cart, and we were just sitting, and we weren't moving, and I was like, oh yeah, this is not good. And then after about, the announcement came on that, we were delayed, and then another announcement came on that we were delayed, and then after about 2 minutes, I think, an announcement came on that they weren't going to be able to fix the problem. And they were actually, no, first the lights came on. The whole attraction lit up. And then an announcement came on saying that they weren't going to be able to fix the problem, and we were going to have to wait for ride employees to come get us out. I don't think it took more than 5 minutes. It was a little bit scary because we were a little bit pulled up, and the track kind of runs down behind you. So I was like, what if this gives way and we just roll back? Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but that's my anxious mind thinking of situations that can happen, of everything that can go wrong. That obviously didn't happen. So they came out after about 5 minutes. I was the first one to be taken out because I was in the first cart. I was also the highest up, so they had to lift me out and carry me to the stairs next to it because I was too high up from it. And then we walked out through the back parts of the attraction, and some people were filming, and they would not allow us to continue until they deleted the videos because you're not allowed to film backstage, I guess, of attractions at Disney. So that was interesting. That was a very special experience. But Paris itself, oh my god, might have been bombarded to has been bombarded to one of my favorite cities ever. What a beautiful city. I was expecting it to be like New York or London, like a big city, which I love. I love both. I love doing both. But busy, a lot of traffic, kind of gray. No. I mean, it wasn't that busy. It was November, middle of the week, so not, a lot of people around. But it's so green. It's got the sand running in the middle of it, which is beautiful. It's got so many trees everywhere. It's got a lot of big open squares that are not full of buildings, and the buildings that are there are in a really beautiful style, like very light and kind of, I don't want to say Baroque style because I don't know enough about it, but like a really beautiful architectural style. I was so impressed by how beautiful Paris was. Yes, I did pay €14 for a glass of wine, which was incidentally the best wine I've ever had, but it was very expensive. kind of annoyed with myself that it took me so long to go. I really, really want to go back, but I have to be a little bit careful this year because I am going away again for 2 months. This is another thing, oh my god, so many things are coming to mind. I went sale agreed on a house in August. It was kind of like a new development. They were actually building 6 extra houses onto an existing development. They had some spaces here and there that they wanted to fill. And it was, I called as soon as I saw it online. They were all gone within an hour because that's the nature of the housing market in Ireland at the moment. It's like everyone, like dogs on a bone, everyone on the same house. So I got it. I put down a €5,000 booking deposit, which is refundable up until you sign the contract. If you change your mind before then, you get it back. So they told me, we're expecting the builder on site this week. We're expecting the house to be finished in April, and we're expecting to send you the contract in October. And I was like, great, house in April. Perfect, all good. Drove by in September, nothing. Drove by in October, nothing. Drove by in November, nothing. Drove by in January after coming back from Spain, nothing. Like, legitimately, the sides are all sectioned off with fences, but they haven't even flattened the ground yet. They're not doing anything. I didn't get my contract in October, and every time I email the estate agent to get information on when are they going to start building, when am I going to get the contract, they say, oh, we'll look into it and get back to you, and then they don't. I don't know anything. And I was getting really frustrated, but because of COVID, our construction was halted twice, I think for respectively 4 months and 5 months. So a lot of estates that they were, or like new developments that they were building, are hugely delayed, and there is no houses coming to the market. Any houses that are coming to the market that are not new are going for an extortionate price. People are just bidding, and it goes for way more than asking. The government here has a scheme that you can get up to €30,000 back from taxes you've paid over the last 4 years to use for a deposit if you're buying a new house. So I have to buy a new house because that's an extra €30,000. I won't have that if I buy a second-hand house. And I don't have anything against a second-hand house, but realistically, a new house is more affordable for me. And I am a bit of, like, in that regard, I'm like my mom. I love things to be brand new and for no one to have used it before, so I do prefer that anyway. But nothing new is coming to the market. And then in November, they're building a new development close to where I live. I think it's like a 2-minute drive away, if even. And I drive past it regularly and saw that they had been building for months. And then in November, a sign went up with a website, which I immediately went to, and it was just, you could just fill out your details to register your interest, which I did. And then I got a call from the estate agent saying, well, they're not planning to actually launch for sale until the summer. They want to have a show house finished first, which I think is a little bit of a tactic, because typically if you buy off plan, it's cheaper. If they already have a show house, I think they can hike up the price a bit, and prices are ridiculous at the moment. The house I went sale agreed on was €30,000 cheaper 2 years ago. That's how much it goes up. I don't know what these are going to cost. I think they'll still be my price range, I hope. But anyway, he said they won't be launching until the summer. But I know that they're building. I drive past it almost every day. So I was like, I'm not going to take that other house. I don't trust it. I don't trust that it's going to be worked on. It's definitely not going to be finished in April, because they haven't even started it yet. But I don't trust that they're even going to work on it anymore. So I canceled it in January. They refunded me the deposit, and I am now just going to wait until the summer before I look at buying another house. I can't believe how long this is taking. I mean, when I reach this summer, I think it'll be officially like a year and a half since I actively started looking. But on the main website in Ireland where they put everything up for sale, I think there's like 3 new houses being added every day for the whole county, and it's a big county. 3 a day. And that's where we are. There's very little coming up for sale. Oh, I hear a truck coming. Okay, it's an oil truck. It's gonna be here a while. It's gonna make a lot of noise. I'm gonna end the video here anyway. I was done. I think I talked about everything I wanted to talk about. Sorry for the loud end, but yeah. I will do a separate video again about a couple of things. I want to do like a haul video. Oh gosh, yeah, it parked right outside my window. Okay. I plan to do like a haul video and a couple of true crimes, hopefully. Yeah, I'm gonna try to pre-record a bunch today so that I